good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. And this is the first Monday of July. And so I just pray that this month bring you so many blessings, so much happiness, and I hope that you're able to enjoy this month. June it was a good month for me. I was pretty much traveling almost every weekend from Dallas, North Carolina, Hershey, PA, and to end June, I did go to Philly on Friday to celebrate one of my cousins that's having a baby. Baby shower was amazing, and it was open bar, and they had me at open bar. And so I was like, when I got to Philly, I was like, you know what? I need to, link up with my cousins, see if they want to go to get a drink with me. And when I went to the baby shower and I saw like this bar, I was like, all right, I'll pay for a drink here. And as soon as I went to get the bartender my card, she was like, oh, it's open bar. I was like, oh. Noops are at ATL. Okay. It was so funny because I'll share this before I get into what I was going to talk about. So you know how there's various games on Facebook. And one of the games I played was, what do you need right now? And no, actually it was open bar, not just wine, open bar, liquor and wine. But it's so funny because I was playing this game on Facebook and it was like, what do you need in your life right now? What do you need in your life right now? And so the message said, I need to be married. So I received so many responses like, yeah, you need to be married. What are these men waiting on? You need to be married. I got a message in my inbox from family members like, hey, are you dating? You're a great catch. And they were telling me all the things they thought that I needed. You need a person with this. You need a person with this. You need a person with that. And I was just, reading the responses. I mean, I had people on the thread, hey, you need a noob in your life. No sense of wasting a good woman. The noops are here at ATL. That's what I got in one of the comments. One of my uncles was like, choose wisely. Had somebody else like I agree. People I agree. It was just funny, right? But what I found so funny, the people that were in the thread, or especially my family members that reached out to me via DM, they would tell me all the things that I needed. But the thing that they missed out on the most was a man of God. And I just thought it was funny because I was like, well, how much do my, how do my family know? How much of them do they know me? Do they just know me based on my accomplishments, or do they just know me as Sakina, right? And these are family members I haven't seen in a while, so that can be an issue too. But I was like, don't they know that's important, right? That's super important. I had some family members say, well, you don't need that. You could be with someone of another religion. I was like, well, that's what you think. That's not me. That's not what I pray for. I will let somebody go if we are not aligned, especially when it comes to the same religion. It's just not going to work for me. And I've done that before, and I'm adamant about it. But what I found is that, and this is the one thing that I realized, is that really being mindful of who I get advice from. If I don't want your life, I really don't care what you had to say. I'll listen to you to be respectful, but I'll take your advice with a grain of salt. And I've learned that, right? Because people had this idea of the things that they think that you want for yourself. But sometimes it can be shallow. No, I either deserve better or I don't want that. Or let's say someone's giving me advice about marriage, and I realize you are a horrible wife. I don't want your advice because I don't want to be a horrible wife. So I don't want your advice at all. So I've learned, and I'm still learning, that, hey, just take this advice with a grain of salt, and to just be mindful people are in my spaces, right? And give them limited space when they're saying things that just does not align with me at all. So I just thought that was funny. And I would say one thing, Chloe, this month marked 3 months that I had my dog. And again, sometimes I keep forgetting that I'm a dog owner. But the thing that I appreciate about my dog so much is that she helped me overcome my fear of dogs, right? Me having a dog is like, what? A dog? Are you serious? And I never thought in a million years that I would have one. But she helped me overcome that fear. And now when I go to PetSmart or if I'm out somewhere and I see people's dogs, I'm like, hey, what kind of dog is this? And how long did you have? I'm just so in awe by them. And I'm just so thankful that Chloe allowed me to get over that fear. Now, if you asked me like a year ago, keep your dog away from me, unless it's like a miniature poodle or a Yorkie, like a small dog, I can deal with those. But big dogs, no. But Chloe helped me overcome that fear. And I'm thankful for that. Very, very thankful for that. So what would I like to talk about? I had some time. Last week, I only had like 12 minutes because I started late. What would I like to talk about? There's a few things. If I had to label this, it will be love people and not things. And I'm going to share a vulnerable thing with you guys. And I don't think I shared this with anyone. I think one of my friends had this idea of what I was doing, but I never confirmed it. Or one of my college colleagues. So when I was at the retreat for Black law women professors a little over a week ago, one of my colleagues, she's also a sorority sister, and she talked about the theme for the event was embracing and radical self-care. And one of the things that she said was, and this is a quote from another person that's in academia, that institutions will not love you. They can't love you. So I read more about it yesterday, and I forgot her name. I think her name is Tracy McMillan. She's a professor, but I didn't get into details as to where she teaches at. But I just saw something that she tweeted, and that's what it was. Institutions can't love you back, right? And it just made me really dig deep, right? And why people are so enamored by their jobs, and they'll just do so much only to find out that the love that they're giving their institution or a job, they will always be in lack of, because that institution can't fulfill them. Institutions are structures and procedures, how things should run. They're not human beings, right? They're not human beings. Just like your job. Your job can't love you. No matter how much you love your job, yes, you can get a raise, you can get a promotion. But when you think about it in the scheme of things, it can't love you back, right? You're getting these promotions based on the work. But your institution or your job doesn't know the sacrifice that comes behind this hard work. They don't know that. You're just getting these advances and these accolades based on the hard work and probably more work than you're supposed to do to get these awards. And because these awards are associated with more money, people assume that, oh, this institution loves me. But jobs and institutions are the same structures that had people going to strokes, that had people commit suicide, that had people have mental health issues, all because they're doing things for something that can't love them back. And I told you guys that I'm really big on Brene Brown, and I love Brene Brown. I'm reading her book right now, and I listen to her podcast more frequently, and I can say that me reading Brene Brown's work this year, it really made me look at things differently in my life, and it made me approach life very differently. And I'm so grateful that I was introduced to her this year. This was, I can say, a groundbreaking year for me. So this idea of loving institutions and jobs, knowing that they can't love you back. Yes, you may love what you do, But the institution, the job itself, it can't love you back at all. And it made me think, why do some people, why are they so in love with something like a job that may not be able to love them back? But it makes them apprehensive to love people, right? Or be afraid to love people. And then I listened to T.D. Jakes, and I highly recommend everyone to listen to this sermon if you are a Christian and a believer. The sermon is called Bruised Love. It's part 1 and part 2. I listened to both of them. And for me, I enjoy going to church, not just listening online. I listen online if I have to go out of town, right? But when I'm home, I go to church. But besides just going to church on Sunday, I try to make that a part of my everyday life, right? And so throughout the week, I will listen to sermons while I'm working. That's just, I need it, right? I need it. And so I came across T.D. Jakes' Bruised Love, and I was like, T.D. Jakes, I'm like, he gets me together all the time. And the sermon talked about love. And what he said that, the thing that people need the most is the thing that people run away from, is love. Love is something that we all need. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care what type of car you drive. I don't care what type of house you have. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care about none of those things. We all desire love, but it's also something that most people are afraid of. And then he was like, the reason why people are afraid of love is because it requires an openness. And when it requires an openness, it requires you to be exposed, for people to really see who you are. And it's left up to them to criticize you, to judge you, to shame you. And that is the risk that you take when you decide to love. Love hurts. It is something that sometimes it may not be so ooey gooey and happy moments. The people that you love, they will hurt you. And sometimes, whether it's intentionally or unintentional, they will hurt you. But it requires this openness, and that's something that Brene Brown talks about. It's this being vulnerable, right? Because loving someone requires vulnerability. And when you are open with someone, that is an uncertainty, that is a risk that you don't even know what comes with it. You're just saying that, hey, I'm going to try this thing. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to try this thing. And I hope and I pray that the person that I'm trying this thing with, and I'm uncertain about their responses, that they won't judge me. Then I looked at on Instagram, Justin LA Boy. I think that's his name. I love his page because sometimes I need that afternoon laugh or sometime a morning laugh to start my day. And there was a post that, I don't regret the love that I gave, but I'm never going to give it again. And I may butcher some of the terms, but that's overall what the message was saying. And then it just made me think, wow, we're in a space now where we get our heart broken one time and we say, forget love. But it's something that we need and something that we desire. But why do we let one thing, one person, stop us from loving again? Especially when it's something that we need and we desire. And then I thought about this. Well, if institutions can't love you back or jobs can't love you back, why are people in awe to just love their jobs, right? You ever see someone and all they do is just work? They don't have a social life. They don't care about anything else. All they do is just work. They love their job. But then I realized that with a job, it doesn't require the certain level of openness compared to when you love a person. But what I can tell you is that if you're so focused on loving things, you will never be fulfilled, right? You will never be fulfilled. And I love Brene Brown work because it requires me to dig deep, and it requires me, honestly, it allows me to really look back over past relationships, what I did right, what I did wrong, what I can do to be better. And I am so vocal about it. And I'm honest. I'm like, hey, I can tell you how I feel. You either take it or you run with it. And if you use it against me, that's on you, right? That's on you. That don't have nothing to do with me. But I could walk away from people and just say, hey, you know what? I was honest. I was vulnerable. But openness, it scares people, right? And then it makes me think, if you are afraid to be open, what are you ashamed of? What is it about you that makes you ashamed of who you are? We all have a past. We all made mistakes in our life. No matter how successful I am, no matter how good people think I am, I made hella mistakes. A lot. I mean, crap, my grandma thought I was a virgin in college. I'm like, grandma, no, definitely not. I did not like to break the news to her, but I'm just like, grandma, no. But it's one of those things with being vulnerable. It requires this uncertainty, and it's a risk. And that's the thing that people are afraid to take, right? This idea of risk that, man, there's a small possibility that this person can use this against me. Or there's a small possibility that this person can give me compassion, right? And then I thought about, well, what would make people feel open? And I was like, people want to make sure they're not judged, right? So just imagine you're telling someone a crazy story, and in your mind, as you're telling this story, you're like, I hope this person doesn't judge me. And then when you get that reassurance that, hey, this person's not judging you, but they really want to listen to you, then you realize, hey, I feel safe. And you will see things on social media about, hey, you want people to create a safe space for you. And I realized that the safe space starts with you. You have to be comfortable within your own soul, within your own right to tell your story. No matter how you phrase the story, how it may appear to everyone, you got to be open to share your own story. And you have to be open to create the safe space for you to share it, right? And then when you create the safe space within yourself to share your story, you know who to share stories to. Everyone's not worthy of your vulnerability, right? It is earned. It's just not easily given, right? It's just not easily given. But this openness, it requires you to really take the risk, right? To really take the risk and say, you know what? I'm going to try this. But it's easy said than done, right? Because a lot of times when people get hurt, it takes them a while to get over it. And I realized, like, why does it take them a while? They don't want to go through the hurt again. I've been finding myself where if I'm having a conversation with someone and they're telling me something, I can hear it in their voice, like, okay, this is kind of vulnerable to them. Like, they're opening up to me, whether it's friends or whoever. And the thing that I would say that make them feel more comforting, I'm like, you know what? Thank you for sharing it. And I know that was probably a lot. And then I realized after I've said that, then the floodgates start to open and they will just tell me every single thing. Why am I sharing all this stuff, right? Why am I sharing about being vulnerable and being open and making sure that you love people and not things? Why am I sharing all these things? I remember one time in my life, I want to say college. My mind was so fixated on doing well in school that I thought that I didn't have the capacity to love someone because I was so enamored of loving my school. Got a tuition scholarship, book scholarship, these different scholarships. that I was just so enamored by that the thought of me loving someone or the thought of someone loving me, I thought about the risk that I would take. But when it came to college, the risk that I was taking is that, hey, if I didn't do well in the class, I can take this class over, right? But if I get my heart broke, I don't know how long it would take me to recover from this. And what T.D. Jakes said in his Bruised Love sermon is that when you have a heartache, there's no medication for it, right? You can't take Tylenol. You can't be prescribed something for a heartache. You just can't. There's nothing there. You could talk to your friends about it, right? You could talk to your friends about it, and you feel good, like talking about things like, hey, this person did this wrong, or it's easy to point out what someone else did about why the relationship didn't work out. It's easy to do that. Then maybe you want to go to therapy to process these feelings and like, how do I live with this new normal without this person in my life, right? And maybe your therapists are giving you the tools to be better. But it's those moments when you have a heartbreak, when you're by yourself, and you have to process all of those things, right? You have to process everything. And heartbreaks, it really requires you to do the work, right? No matter how much help you get, no matter how much people tell you, you have to do the work. And yes, time heals everything. But the one thing that I learned about time is that someone can break your heart in 2010, all right? 2013, you can say you forgive them, but you didn't see this person in 3 years. What happens when you see that person? Can you forgive them? And that is a hard thing. But during this time, during this process, what are you doing, right? What are you doing in this time frame of this healing? I remember when I got my first heartbreak, I was in college. I think I was a sophomore going into my junior year. I mean, I was devastated. And I was working in the summer. And I just started to lose so much weight. I was like, you know what? I need to just get my mind off of things. And I just started working out. And I just started going to the gym. And I lost like 15, 17 pounds. The weight was needed too. But I just started to lose weight. Be mindful of what I eat. And throughout that process, even though time has healed, I didn't have the right tools to heal in a more effective way. And as I got older, especially as I got older and went through life, but really going to therapy and really being close to God, like I needed both of those things. Like I needed God and therapy. And really going through therapy, it really showed me like, hey, time do heal, but do you still have the tools to handle this? When someone does this, do you have the tools to really handle this? And I was like, I had to think about it, like, wow, I never thought about it like this. So now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like when people try to slide my DM again, like, hey, I messed up, want a second chance. I'm not mean, right? I am not mean. At first, I would give you a whole spill. No, you lost me. Forget you. Like, I would have a whole spill in my younger days. But now it's just like, hey, how are you? Are you well? How's your mom? How's your family? How's everything going? I may get a response like, my mom still care about you. Okay, now you are pushing it. But I can have those conversations now, right? Because now I have the tools to say, hey, you know what? Even though it didn't work out, I still want the best for you, right? And sometimes the best may not be with me. And that's okay. And sometimes it may be easy to say it, but to put it in practice, it is hard. And so I come across these DMs. I'm like, hey, I hope that you're well and I hope that you're okay. And I absolutely wish the best for you. Like, I don't want nothing bad to happen. Someone that I dated, someone in their family passed away. I reached out like, hey, you are my thoughts and my prayers. And I would do random check-ins like, hey, I don't want anything. I just want you to know that I hope that you're well. I just want you to know that you crossed my mind, and I hope that you're well. I'm not asking this person to take me on a date. I'm not asking any of those things. And most times, those relationships, they ended friendly, for the most part. But I got the tools now to have those conversations and just say, hey, you know what? Even though it didn't work out, I still want the best for you. And I hope you want the best for me. If not, I know God's going to give me the best, right? And so I say all these things to say that maturing is a choice, right? To make the decision to mature is yours. You can be 40 years old. You could be 50 years old and still act like a teenager, or still act like the age from which you were hurt, right? Heartbreaks are going to happen. It's not going to be a one-time thing, right? You may get hurt over and over again, but the goal is, how do you process those things? And every heartbreak looks different, right? I think a heartbreak in your 30s is a little harder, right? When you're a kid, because a kid's like, you kind of bounce back, but 30s is like, okay, now I know, maybe for some, you know what you want. Maybe you're in your career, you're doing well. And sometimes it just make you think and reevaluate your life. But the one thing that I told one of my friends yesterday was that, and this person was going through just going through some trying times. And I said, I pray that although you're lovesick, I pray that this does not make you bitter, because heartbreaks can make people bitter. And I said, I just pray that you learn a lesson from this and figure out how to move forward. But please process your feelings. If you need to cry, please cry, by all means. I was like, I'm still going to do my check-ins. I'm not asking you to respond. I just want you to know that I was thinking about you, and I just want to make sure that you're mentally and emotionally okay, because I know that when you go through these things and you're processing things by yourself, it is a lot. So I'm going to send my check-ins, my random check-ins. I just want to make sure that you're mentally and emotionally okay. I'm not asking to respond. Just know that I care. I got the time. I can send these messages. And that was my prayer. And so my prayer to everyone that's listening to this is that I pray that you find it in your heart to love again. If you've been hurt several times, I pray that you give it one more try. And if that doesn't work, give it another try. Give it another try. It feels good to love someone, a person. And it feels even better to receive love. And so I just hope and pray that you have that in your heart to love. Yeah, it's good to get love from your family, but a romantic love is a special one. And so I just pray that if you've been hurt, I pray that you do the work. Figure out what needs to be done. What tools do you need to process those feelings? Don't just keep everything in. If you need to cry, I pray that you cry. If you need to cry again, I pray that you cry again. Instead of talking bad about the person that hurt you, try to talk about the good things. I realized I healed and healing is a journey, it's not a destination, but I realized that I've healed when I honestly wanted the best for someone, right? I honestly wanted the best. And when someone asked me about this person, I didn't have nothing bad to say. And I was like, I looked at myself, I was like, God, you really changing me. I didn't have nothing bad to say. But I can tell you that was a process. To tell you that I've been like this my entire life, I would be lying to you. But I made the choice to grow. I made the choice to be better. And I'm still making those choices every day to grow. Listen to understand. And I feel like life is not life in front of me, but life is feeling really warm. And I'm thankful for that. So that's all that I have. So I pray that you open your heart. this is Monday, so I would like to shout out to all the dope men out there. I pray that you heal over things that you don't talk about. Some of my male friends, they keep things to their self. And I'll send them a message like, hey, how are you? I'm good. No, give me the long answer, bro. And they will find comfort in telling me certain things. And I just pray for a lot of men that just keep things in and don't express themselves because maybe they feel like they're not being heard. And so I just pray that you are around people that allow you to give them the long story and not the shorter version of how you feel, because you need to get all those things out. I'm the type of friend where no matter what I got going on, if you're someone that I really care about, and my friends, like, I'm the friend that a lot of friends vent to, right? Like, they'll tell me so much, and I'm like, okay. They're like, Sakina, are you working? Are you busy? I'm like, why are you worried about my schedule, bro? Like, I got this, and let me get on here. Don't worry about it. I was like, let me call you. Don't worry about my schedule. And I will make space for that, right? I say, hey, no, listen, let's talk about this. And they were like, bruh. I'm like, okay. I'm a girl, but I can take bro. Talk to me. What's wrong? If we need to go out for you to clear your mind, hey, let's hang out somewhere. And my friends, my male friends that have girlfriends or wives, like, they know about me. So it's none of that hinky-pinky stuff. I don't play none of those things. And I'm like, hey, let's talk. Well, one of my friends, when there's something like really bad, he will FaceTime like, Zach, I need to talk to you right now. I'm like, okay, let me log off my laptop and let's talk. All right. So I pray that you heal over things that you don't talk about. And I sincerely mean it. Black men are killing themselves. And I just pray that you get the help that you need. I pray that you're in a community of men that allows you to grow. And I pray that you're around men that wants the only best for you because you deserve it. So that's my prayer to you. And lastly, I will share something that's vulnerable. So I don't think I told my friends. I don't know if they know this about me. I don't know. So in college, I had a car. I had 2 cars. My first car was a car that my great-grandmother had, and she passed away and gave it to my grandmother. My grandmother didn't really drive it as much, and then eventually it needed work. So my grandmother gave me a car. It was a 95 Mercury Tracer. It was like a mint green, like a green color, mint green color, dark mint green color. And in the inside, I had like bedazzled it, right? And my cousin to this day, when I would pick her up from Jersey and like maybe like take her out to lunch when I was in college, she still remembers my car. So it was like bedazzled. I had like pink jewels all over. I had like a furry pink wheel cover. It was just bedazzled. But my sophomore year in college, my great-grandmother passed away. And when I found out that she was sick, it really bothered me. So for those that may not know, I was blessed to meet on my maternal side both of my great-grandmothers. And I used to hang out with them, especially my mother's father's mother, my grandmother Nellie. I used to hang out with her a lot, and her sister, my Aunt May. We would go to the auctions. We would do so much stuff together. And when she was sick, it really bothered me. I didn't go to the funeral because I'd never been to a funeral. The first funeral I ever been to, I was 26. And I was really nervous to go. My mom didn't want me to go, but I knew I could have went if I really wanted to. So what I did was, I was 18. I could buy tobacco products. I would smoke Black and Milds. And I did this in such secrecy because I did not want people to know, and I did not want people to judge me. And so what I would do when I would get my car on campus, like if I'm driving to Walmart, I would go right to the local gas station and get me a pack of Black and Milds, and I would smoke them by myself. I used to drive a lot by myself, like do a lot of things by myself, and I would smoke Black and Milds. And I remember one of my colleagues got in my car because she needed a ride. We lived right near each other on Upper Campus. And she got in my car. She was like, she started smelling her. She was like, Sakina, are you smoking Black and Milds? And I was like, nah, I wasn't smoking. But like, I made sure like my ashtray was empty. But that was a way for me to cope. I didn't try no drugs or anything. It was just Black and Milds, right? And I had money to buy it because I had a work study job. So buying a pack of Black and Milds was nothing for me. But that's what I did. I used to smoke Black and Milds. But once I got caught, and I never confirmed or denied it, I started to smoke a little bit more afterwards, and then I just stopped. I just went cold turkey. Like, I didn't have like no major addiction, but it was just something for me to ease my mind because I was super stressed. But yeah, I used to smoke Black and Milds. I'll think about some more vulnerable things for me to share. But yeah, I used to smoke Black and Milds. And I think if I never got caught, I would have smoked them a little bit for a longer period of time. But yeah, I smoked Black and Milds. That's all I have, guys. I hope that you guys have a great week. Last week was bomb. And I know that this week will be bomb too. But it's a choice, right? It's a choice if you want to have fun. And I'm living life intentionally and on purpose. So I like to enjoy myself. And I tell people, just because I'm smart doesn't mean that I like to just sit home and read books. Now, I do read. Let's be clear. But I like to go out. And I go out a lot. And I have a great time. And I get home at a certain time because I have a bedtime. So I can wake up in the morning and work out. But that's all I have. But seriously, I hope and pray that you love people and not things. Because things can't love you back. People can love you back. And I hope and pray that you're open with yourself and you're vulnerable. I know that it's okay. Yeah, it's a risk. It is. But the risk is so worth it. It's so worth it. Take care. I love all you guys. And I'm giving all you guys like hugs. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.